Alright, so I'm going to do another little kind of fun video, slightly educational as again, like my St. Louis video, which I'm going to link into the description below, and I'll put a card for the playlist of this, just the whole flight series in general. I'm actually going to do Macau and Hong Kong. Now, I've been there, been to both as a visitor, so don't, what I'm going to say is just going to be from my knowledge, my recollection of visiting there a couple years ago, and not, let's say, a local. I'm not going to be flying over this random part, of an area saying this has very good roasted goose. That isn't really the style of my videos. The style of my videos is gonna be more like different sites and stuff, and this is gonna be slightly longer. And the reason is I want to start out with this. This weather data is slightly live but slightly off. So this is Typhoon Bavi, I believe. Yes, Bavi, and it's a Category 3 storm. Now, when I look at the map, from the Typhoon Center, it's more up here now, not here. Like here, it shows almost like on Okinawa. It's not. It's more up here. And right now, its current path is going to be almost like hugging this and heading north into North Korea around here, which is also Pyongyang and so forth. But anyway, I thought this was fascinating because there's also Hurricane Laura in the Atlantic, but their location's off as well. Anyway, let's get into this. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fly out of Macau, and they do have an airport there, and I'll explain that in a minute here. And we'll make our arrival Hong Kong. We won't follow the true path, see? Well, according to this, it's 5 minutes of this plane. I'm going to use... we'll use this plane. It could be a little loud, but, it's... The other plane I was thinking of is almost just as fast, or a little faster. But I do want to have a little slowness so I can at least kind of go for some stuff at possibly, the speed or anything going crazy. Normally I keep live conditions, but since it's kind of cloudy, I am going to just custom it as a clear day because I want to see everything. Normally I do not do that for fun, just like it's cool to see the live weather, but last time I tried to fly over in this region didn't go so well due to the weather outside of night. And the cool thing to do is to see here, they do mark a lot of stuff that's helpful, but we're also going to go over stuff that isn't purposely marked as well. So while this is loading, I'm going to take a couple minutes here to talk about the airport. So Macau does have an airport, and it is an international, it's a commercial airport. Not very big though. I think it's just we'll see when we get there, but I believe it's only one runway. So it's not really designed for long-haul flights. It's not designed for, let's say, a Boeing 787 or the 777. It may officially can handle it, but it's really just a small airport. I actually pulled up here. There's an Air Macau. There's an extra airline called Air Macau. But if you look at its flight destinations, pretty heavy into China, mainland China, I should say. A few goes to Osaka, Seoul. Shit. So, but that's about it. And the other ones are just smaller, regional, surprised me some stuff like Cebu Pacific from Manila, and Cebu will fly there. And airlines, but you don't really see any, let's say, long haul, even some of the major airlines. I mean, Air China would be a big one, but you don't have, I don't see ANA. Eva Air is a big one. I don't see Korean Air, but there's another Korean airline that flies there. So yeah, it's just basically the airlines that fly there. It's it's just there for travel and leisure from let's say richer clientele. Because Macau's a very interesting place, and I'll go on that in a second. Real quick, last thing I have to mention. Believe it or not, the one airline that does fly there that's insane to think about is Air Koryo from Pyongyang. So that is one of the few. This is on Wikipedia, so it could be a little off, but that's probably one of the few areas that destinations you get to from North Korea. Now, who's allowed to go from North Korea? I'm going to guess government officials and higher level people that have permission to. Alright. Couple things. I turned off ATC radio for the time being. Well, it's officially on, see, but you won't hear it because it got too loud last time I tried doing those videos. Now remember, I'm playing about medium settings here. Data is turned on, so of course forward imagery is on. But yeah, the Macau airport's actually almost on the southern part. You kind of see it here. So when we fly out, I'm gonna fly south a little bit, then come back, and I'll show you what I mean. It's basically Macau's just its whole territory is just it's just a couple little, 2 to 3-ish islands roughly. I should say islands, and it's all it's all connected really to the mainland. But yeah, let's pull out there. Perfect. So
stall.
It's hard to tell, but I think so. This is the airstrip, but the airport's like right over there, and it comes taxis over here in this little basically landing strip that's on the bay here. All right, so I'm gonna go backtrack. So I'm backtracking, but the reason I say Macau's a very interesting area. So first thing is, it is actually its government, as of now, I should say, is somewhat similar to Hong Kong. It is actually a territory of China, and it was originally part of it was a colony of Portugal. Until I think actually 98. I think it actually handed over after Hong Kong. Obviously not as big, I guess, international news in a sense, because Macau is really known for gambling and stuff. It wasn't like Hong Kong being this global financial center, major firms that were recognized worldwide like HSBC or Cathay Pacific. It was just more as a gambling capital. And I don't even know how big it was in the late 90s. I mean, now it's a lot bigger. You got like NGM, the Winds there, the Sands. So a lot of you're almost, let's say, Western casinos have a base there. And I've been to the MGM Grand there, actually. Just visit. I didn't stay in Macau. I stayed in Hong Kong and did the ferry over for the day. And it's pretty unique, actually. Instead of seeing, tons of blackjack tables, there was all a lot of baccarat, and they had some different dice games as well that I didn't truly recognize. So I'm going to try and keep my speed low here. There we go. I think it's piggy. So here's Macau. It's literally just like this, and then this little other almost like island up north. But anyway, so it was a Portuguese colony for a long time, and the main reason I really want to go there, and I think I'll be able to find it from the air. It's kind of unique. There's an area of Portuguese. It's not really ruins. It's like the Portuguese district. Let me pull it up just to make sure I get the name right. Yeah, it's literally just called Portuguese Macau. And, believe it or not, kind of like Hong Kong, it has its own immigration system like Hong Kong. Pretty visa-free like Hong Kong, not too restricted, or at least we'll see in the future, considering everything that's going on. Alright, we're going to slow this down real quick. Yeah, there we go. But when you go in there, you see Cantonese and Portuguese, the official languages of Macau. Yeah, pretty wild. Now, we're going over some casinos right now. We're going to pause. Perfect. Hold on one second. Let me pull up. We'll pause right here. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the NGM right here. Pretty unique building. This is the Wynn across the street. And there's a couple other casinos that are different names, or I just didn't recognize. It wasn't like, I don't know if they were owned by like Western or maybe like Asian or other companies. But yeah, all the casinos are, the big casinos are almost like right next to each other. Do another pause. Perfect. This is what I was worried about. But yeah, this is very beautiful. It's like a big fountain here. Very pretty, a lot of trees. And you have these kind of like nice new skyscrapers. But what's really bizarre, and you'll see it, and granted, be fair, this is, these buildings aren't 100% accurate in terms of how they look. But you have these really nice, beautiful Vegas-ish skyscrapers, and then right across of it look like very old apartment buildings. Like, it wasn't like gradual. It wasn't like, Vegas where it's like almost all of them, and then it took like a highway or to start seeing like normal housing. It was literally like big rich building, and then when looking next to it, looked like small apartments of just everyday people. Like, it was just, there was no gradual, like, okay, nice building, semi-nice, and let's say average. It was just like it was like a tale of two worlds between like going from these rich casinos, seeing people spending $1,000 to, you know, probably an apartment that, you know, is probably like a studio size, you know, for all I know. All right, let's just get out of that. And I think I can kind of see. I think that's it. This is right here. Unfortunately, the 3D buildings look a little off. Let's see here. Yeah, because St. Anthony's Parish is over there. I also got a Macau, man. I'm trying my best here. Yeah. So it's a little hard to tell, I guess, from this, unfortunately. But literally, the Macau districts is all kind of like right here. Okay, I know what this is. This looks horrible, unfortunately. But this is actually a fort. This is an old Portuguese fort you can actually visit and walk. So yeah, this is basically the Portuguese district. Again, you know, I'm being fair. This game, you know, there's a lot of, like, you look at this. The ones that truly Penmark have been rebuilt. Like, it looks like more handcrafted. It looks like the real thing. But obviously something like this, you know, they were not really focused on. They were focused on, like, skyscrapers, very notable from the air. Hopefully over time they add more, because this is very beautiful. This is basically like Monte Fort is built. I actually have the whole thing here, so I'm just saying it's from the 17th century. And then around these like the old Portuguese districts. So yeah, a lot of Portuguese architecture. I really felt like I was back in Europe briefly, even though you were hearing Cantonese all around me. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, and I didn't spend too much over. I'm trying to think if this is the border yet. Yeah, and this is it. Over here, I'm pretty sure this is like the border, and then you go into mainland China. Yeah, it is. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe not. Maybe I'm off. I'm trying to find. No, actually, no, that is it. Yeah, that's it. This is mainland China. So, yeah, it's literally just right there. Another airport over there. I'm trying to find the ferry. I'm trying to remember how it came in. Oh, yeah, I think it was over here. Okay, yeah, it's a little weird. Hold on, I'm trying to see. I think this is it as well. I apologize. It's kind of... There's no lines here, so I'm doing this all just kind of looking from memory, and I can tell this is off here. Well, anyway. There's a ferry over here. But yeah, basically, yeah, it's not that big. It's literally just this. This is pretty much Macau. Or, sorry. This. And then this is pretty much Macau. So, a lot of people. Very dense. But, get rid of that. There we go. Now, it's nice. I want to do my Hong Kong. So we're not going to go into the airport first. We're actually going to fly over the islands. But I actually have a bit to say about Hong Kong airport. But anyway, the first thing I'm going to try and fly over is somewhere over here. Let's see if they actually recreate it. Because it's kind of like the fort. When I was looking for it, it's just a big blob. And somewhere in this island, actually near the airport, center of this island, is a big Buddha statue on top of a mountain. Did not actually make it that, unfortunately. I was only there for about 6 days. 5 nights. Actually, yeah, 6 nights. It was 6 days, 6 nights, but I arrived like 8 o'clock at night, so it was really more like 5 days. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I do want to start off something interesting. Actually, I'm going to get my speed back up. So, what's going to be really cool, and well, let me back up 1 second. Hong Kong Airport has a very cool history. The one downside in this game, it's not a handcrafted airport. And I say that's a big shame, is like, this is the terminal. I mean, it's going to look like nothing, unfortunately, spectacular the way they did this. But what makes it very unique is it's considered the largest ongoing terminal building in the world. Like every terminal is normally like breaking off, like different hallways and roofs. This is like all one big roof with everything underneath it. You know, your your customs, like everything's underneath one building, one roof. It's not like multiple buildings that are tied together. It's literally like one big building, and these gates kind of break off. Like it's very beautiful actually. Very cool. So it's from an architectural standpoint, quite it's amazing. Now what's cool about this airport is we have to back up to before it into the, let's say, 70s and 80s. Is the old airport, I believe it is called Kai Tak. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. I'll double check here. Yep, Kai Tak. Kai Tak was the old airport. And it was built basically, actually, it might have been there. Oh, actually, no, I just pulled it up. It opened up in 1925. However, it was basically built literally right in the heart of Hong Kong. It was like right, you can actually see it. This is it. The old airstrip's there. It's like a park now, I think. Actually, it is a park. I've been there. But that was it. They had one airstrip. And they extended it as much as they could into the bay. But, you ran out of space. So, and by the 70s and 80s, we're fully in the jet age. The 747. You had the Concorde, which didn't really fly there. But I know there are videos of the British Airways Concorde there. I'm assuming it was probably loaned out, or the British royal family, or someone very important got it for temporarily, but it wasn't like on the route. It wasn't on the flight path. But it was basically, you have the growth of Hong Kong from the 70s and 80s. You had Cathay, global finance, and you ran out of space. And what made and it's kind of sad, a lot of people miss the old airport. It may not as much for the amenities or the fact flying into it as a passenger was scary. But the fact, if you're an AV geek like myself, or just like flying planes cool, you literally saw 747s flow almost right above these skyscrapers, diving into this airstrip to land like that. So, or actually, it might have come in that way, and they took off that way. But basically, it was like you were getting some of the most famous shots you ever see of planes like flying over a city. That most likely was from here at Kai Tak in Hong Kong, because there was no other way. Basically, Hong Kong kept, due to its, geography, or I guess, with the mountains and the geography, they built up. They couldn't build out. They couldn't spread out. They built up. And by the 80s, when they already had plenty of skyscrapers, it is even more now than then. It was very difficult. They had to fly right over all these skyscrapers in the Kai Tak, and that really led to build this airport over here, Hong Kong International Airport. I actually think there's another name for it, but most people call it Hong Kong International Airport. Sorry, it looks like we're losing some frame rates right now. But anyway, and what's cool about that airport, let's just pause this briefly. See, this is an island. This originally was two islands, like two little mountain islands here. Obviously not this tall, but something like, say, like that, a couple of these. They took both of them, flattening it, then filled the sea with land to connect the two, to form this island to build the airport on. And I learned this from an episode of Extreme Engineering a long time ago. I think it was about 15 years ago. And I was so fascinated by it. And there's actually even more to it than that. Let's see. This is actually, real quick, hold on. This is a Chasing Rabbit real quick. This is one of the new highways they built in, I think, the Chinese government. It's obviously the show, and it goes into the mainland. It's like a big tunnel into the mainland to show their kind of like prominence. Technology, very impressive, but obviously there's a lot of political drama with that as well, unfortunately. But anyway, with that, so they basically combined these two islands, built this airport, and that's not it. I mean, it gets even crazier. And I'm going to look for the Buddha statue over here, by the way. I'm going to have to get kind of low. So, and you kind of see it here. See this highway? They built this highway as well for the airport. This wasn't here. There wasn't really much here at the time. I think this Buddha statue was, but not much else. Little villages, but definitely not this. So they built a big, basically, interstate along with a high-speed bullet train from, I should say bullet train, but high-speed rail from here into the main, really to, into central Hong Kong. Both into, actually, I don't know how to rephrase that, but basically, yeah, it was several stops. It takes only like 15, maybe like 20-ish minutes, because this airport's a good, probably 14, 15 miles from the center. But it was like, you were there like that, comfortable ride, places to put your luggage easily. you know, air conditioned well. So, but it's just very amazing they did all that. So fortunately, I'm not seeing the Buddha statue. And granted, it'd probably be a little easier if I got lower. Yeah, actually, according to this, it's... Oh, I better be careful here. I'm going to get a little lower if possible, but since there is elevation change with these hills, I don't know. I think according to this, it should be over here. Like, I know we went over this and I didn't see anything, so I don't think... If they did recreate it, maybe it was this small and it's that hard to see. Fortunately, I know they didn't pen it, which means it wasn't... If it's there, it's going to be done by the AI and not handcrafted or, let's say, extra attention to detail. But anyway, we'll head right into central Hong Kong now, just for a little fun. But yeah, you see there's tons of little islands here. You know, some that got not cities, inhabited. Most likely connected by the ferry. Very extensive ferry system in the area. Which I'll go over a little bit in a bit. No, sadly, I didn't spend much time over here. It was just for the airport. Most of my time, last time I stayed was over here. Well, on Hong Kong Island. I think I wasn't in central area. I think I was in... Looking it up now. Yeah, I was in Wine Chai. Wine Chai is just kind of like east of the central area, but very, very cool. And I'll go over that in a minute. And then, of course, over here, yeah, like Kowloon Bay, Pak Ten. I'm pulling up a map here, so I'm just kind of renaming some. Yu Mai Tai, I was over there a bit. So most of my time was here. I did go on to the new territories a little bit. Just, there's like it's like this park of these golden Buddha statues, so it's very cool. I just love that, going to these temples, seeing that kind of stuff. Now, last time I did this flight here, I did it nice. This is my first time doing the day. And they did a great job with the sky. Now, we're going to start seeing a lot of pens pop up. And hopefully this does a good job really capturing how dense Hong Kong is. Because it's just weird from the sky when I flew in, when I actually flew in for real, a commercial flight coming in through here and landing over there. Is that you saw a lot of lights, but then you saw a lot of darkness because there's this countryside. And you realize these are all mountains. So they can only do so much with the land they've got. Now, there's a lot of, even some debate. They could have done much more. Obviously, level out stuff, build up on it. They didn't. I'm not too sure. For me personally, I'm not sure how easy of a solution it is. I mean, maybe with today's technology, but there's a lot of buildings were built here for years ago. So we're gonna do a pause here in a few seconds. So I think this is off here. Okay, yeah, so I'm pretty sure they didn't capture this perfectly. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, there it is. It's a blob, but that's okay. I think this is it. This is Victoria's Peak here. It's up here in the mid-levels. There's Western Market. So I remember looking that way towards the skyscrapers. You look down. I actually want to say it's here. That doesn't look right. I'm going to put up a satellite image, actually. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. We'll fly a little bit over. Let's do that. Yeah, so I'm looking at this map. Yeah, so this is Victoria's Peak around here. I can't tell which one's the visitor center. I almost want to say that's it. Because I remember being kind of like a big building like that. But obviously it's kind of, somewhat filled in. But anyway, that's okay. But yeah, let's reset. Zoom out. Perfect. So yeah, so you have Victoria's Peak here. Amazing views of all the skyscrapers in the city. This is one of the famous skyscrapers here. And they did recreate this. You can just tell from the look they recreated this one compared to, like, see this? A little more generic and stuff. I'm sure if I could play this on Ultra, obviously I have a few more over here. The skyline is easily one of the most beautiful I've ever seen in the world. All right, let's gain some speed again. So this is kind of like their main financial district. Hold on 1 second. Let's reset. Oh man. There we go. Ooh. Yeah. All right, there we go. Just got to fix that. Yeah, and so you got more of this guys. So they did a good job here. Even some of these recreated. This is their convention center, but you also have like a main ferry plaza right around. Actually, the ferry plaza is around here too. And you take the main ferries, across over here. There's another plaza as well, I believe, if I recall correctly. And actually, I can show you where I stay, because this is pretty close where I was. Another skyscraper. Over here, this is the part of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. I think this is Sha Tin? They have 2 tracks. I'm going to double check here. I'm right on. No, sorry, this is Happy Valley. Happy Valley. Sha Tin's and somewhere else in the Hong Kong area, but a lot of famous, well, let me phrase it. A lot of well-known turf races there. I love horse racing. I watch it quite a bit. And they get a lot of the best. They get some of the best turf races in the world, but obviously mostly Asia and some Euro horses can be. Not as much as American, because it's not easy for a horse to fly overseas like this. Also, I see an issue here. Looks like kind of dips like that. But yeah, that's Happy Valley, and my hotel is actually. Yeah, it's gonna be. Let's say it's like right around here, actually. Yeah, because I'm trying to... Actually, hold on. Actually, it was either... I don't think it was right there, because it would have gone up this road. It would have been right over here. Obviously did not recreate that particular building, unlike some of these other ones. So, but no, it was a really cool area to stay in. Hotel I got was actually really reasonably priced. I think it was like 80 to 100 a night roughly, depending on the day. A lot of good restaurants in the area, ramen, everything. And you're literally like right near the subway. There's not too far from as you saw the main financial district, and just easy to get around the area. But now I think this is where you can truly see Hong Kong since just imagine how many people live in this area. I mean, it's just astonishing to think about. I'm gonna go back in the cockpit real quick. There we go. I mean, it's honestly a beautiful city. I really recommend we go there once. Unfortunately, what's going on politically is very sad. I want to be optimistic it'll work out, but unfortunately, I'm trying to be realistic, and I just don't think it's going to be the case. Especially how we understand, as people outside China try to understand their government and what's kind of going on. But anyway, then we're going to circle back. We're going to go around there and part of the new territories and into the back to the airport and wrap up this video. So, but a little more. Yeah, see, tons of skyscrapers. I mean, this is some of the most expensive real estate in the world. Now, I do think it's starting to take a hit due to obviously the Chinese government, the way their influence in the region. Partially due to COVID, and the world's changing. I mean, when they hand over Hong Kong in '97, I remember reading this, so it could be off, and I apologize if what I'm saying is fully inaccurate. Hong Kong City was it was anywhere from at least 10 to 25% of China's GDP at the time. I mean, it was significant. Now as a city, it's like 3% compared to the rest of China. Because China's caught up. I mean, Shenzhen, which is actually up here, right across the new territories. I mean, it's massive. I think there's more people there than here, but in the 70s, it was like a fishing village. It's crazy. Now Shenzhen's a China tech capital in a sense. So, and it shows a lot of changes, but what's so cool about Hong Kong is that it's truly a city of East meets West. I mean, you see the British influence over there. You got the double-decker buses. They're actually British tea rooms. There's still some elements of those names, you know, Victoria's Peak. There's words like Royal and stuff. Like, there's still some of those names. And it's just really sad to see what's happening because it's a very unique culture. Not just because of the British influence, but, you know, they also have had, you know, Western ideas, civil liberties. And they've really merged two cultures really, you know, they merged them together over time very well. I won't say historically, because I know historically, I'm going to do another pause here in a second here. Historically, real quick, unfortunately, you know, there's some negative history there with the British rule. And I think there's a little bit of more of a, like, you know, you remember the good times? And really, the good times of British Hong Kong was really from post-World War II. Maybe even actually beyond this, really, because I went to the Hong Kong Museum, they had this history. It's more like the 50s, 60s to 97, you know, where they expanded their, you know, the locals, they got expanded rights. It wasn't just for the British people anymore. And, you know, that's where you saw the economy went boom, and it became the gateway into China, became a huge financial hub. Obviously, with Japan's bubble economy at the time, you know, it was very good proximity. You know, then you can even add Korea over time. So it was in a great spot. But fortunately, you know, politically things have changed rapidly. It's still a very important city, but it's starting to become more like trying to change just another Chinese city over its unique identity of being a Hong Konger, you know, having the Cantonese language, you know, having its own. It would probably keep its always unique cuisine, but there's so much other aspects that's so unique that we've never seen anywhere else, and you will definitely have seen it in China from the roads, you know, English language still primarily being taught and so forth. Anyway, let's get backtracked. So I have to show you this. This is the Kai-Tak runway, the original runway, and that's now kind of like a park. That doesn't really seem to look well from the satellite image here, but that's okay. But yeah, so this is the airport, and basically you had planes coming in. I want to say when they came over these hills and like over Kowloon here into this bay, and basically kind of turned and landed in here. And saying take off. Take off, you had to get out of here rapidly because you had all these, you know, you didn't have much room. At the same time, you also got the mountains as well. It wasn't just the skyscrapers that they had to worry about. It was also, you know, just natural land as well. So, and it's kind of interesting. There's like another flight sim that actually has at airports like a challenge to land in the rain and stuff. It's very gorgeous actually, but it'd be cool if they can add that like as a, you know, like as a challenge. That'd be cool. You know, add the airport, try to land it. Maybe even add like, you know, overlay it and put in there's a secondary airport you could take off and stuff. I think people just would love that. And while I'm over here, I'm gonna have to get a little closer. Yeah, I know where we need to go. I'm going to show also something cool, and it's going to be a little, I'm going to have to get kind of low, and hopefully this goes okay. No, I'm not going to try and land on it. The building there is going to crash it. Alright, this is Kowloon City here. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing. I think it's Kowloon City. Yeah, from these images, they're doing a lot of development. I'm trying to see. See, it's a park now, and I'm trying to see which park it is. Is the track? Ah. Yep, I see it. I see it. That's, I think that's it right there. Looks a little off. Oh, wait, I'm on top of it. Oh, that's cool. That does look like it. Oh, hold on 1 second. So I gotta fix this. It's just that speed's gonna keep going up, and it will end the simulation. Surprisingly. Okay, we got a little time while that slows down. It's a little hard. I'm gonna use my mouse here. So this here, it's a park, beautiful park. You know, a little promenade, a lot of trees, water. This used to be the walled city. I'm gonna post this in the description. It was literally one of the most densely populated places on Earth. Very poor, actually very dangerous. Basically, it was like, take like these skyscrapers and just crunch them all together. Maybe even throw them a little more and crunch them all together, and it was the walled city. It was literally like a huge block of skyscrapers all crammed together. People living, basically, you had alleyways inside the buildings. It's just insane to think about that this actually existed. But it did. And there's a plaque there. There's actually a little part of the ruins, like a few bricks and stuff of the original walled city. But it's gone now, obviously. The Chinese and the British government both wanted it gone around the Hanover. So it was like destroyed in the mid-90s, and then they built the park. And it was for better. I mean, the weirdest thing, like, and this is the downside of Hong Kong, and you can actually make an argument with other parts of the world, is you have a serious income gap at times in Hong Kong, because to afford a nice place, I won't say you have to be a millionaire, but you got to be well off. You got to at least make very good money to afford a good place, to even own it. So you can't just, like, it isn't like, let's say, parts of the U.S. or even other cities where okay, I may not be rich, but at least get like a nice little one-bedroom apartment. That's not the case there. I mean, you see, there's like a lot of, news documentaries and stuff. You have people living at like, almost like little like shared homes. It'd be like, like an apartment that's shared by 4 different people, and you kind of have like your own bedroom. That's it. And you look at the price of that bedroom, it's like, at least 700 to 1,000 a month just for that. Ah, look at that. It's kind of synced here. It's always kind of neat to find stuff like that. So, and it's just a shame. I mean, and I mentioned earlier, I think that's starting to change a little bit due to, as I said, a lot of other obvious political reasons. But, yeah, it's just kind of... So, and the thing about that walled city, why I want to get back to it, it was very poor. There was a lot of crime, a lot of issues. But it was one of few areas that a lot of people could actually afford to live in. And it gets even crazy when you're thinking about it this way. They had, like, there's a lot of dentists there. They were not licensed, but you could at least get dental procedures. Like, people could afford it. A lot of and even at the time, there was a lot of the city's fish balls and stuff came from that area. Places that made it. So, I ain't saying that was great and all. It just kind of showed you there's a lot of issues, and even to this day, it's still prominent in the Hong Kong area that's never really been addressed. Especially with the income gap and the cost of living and so forth. And it's crazy. You go, like, as a foreigner, when I go out to eat, it was very reasonably in price and cheap. And I don't think that was the issue. It was just the cost of living, like, trying to get into these apartments. And then maybe stuff like groceries and some other necessities like, your electricity and water and so forth. Yeah, I find this over one more time, but this lane at 747s. And you can tell it can handle it, but it's not optimal. There's not much space. I mean, you're coming in hot, like you're coming over these islands, or you're coming from the north, you're going over this. Yeah, because, a lot of the planes, actually, they would come over this. They would fly over this and land in like that. There were obviously some accidents over the years that slid off the runway, especially in heavy rain. But, yeah, it's just crazy. Now, I'm going to do one more circle. I am not going to probably go over the new territories. There isn't much out there. I mean, it's more like these kind of buildings and little apartments and some malls and stuff. I mean, most of the, the obviously sites are down here. The Grand Promenade. This is Central. I do want to go over this one more time because it's just very pretty. And then we head into Hong Kong Airport in this video. I hope you guys enjoy my rant. I'm trying to just kind of talk about some of the unique history and what I saw there because I've been to that park, saw this old airport, Victoria's Peak, actually, around the convention center, you have some, I think that's, no, there is something around there, but I think it was closed. Up here, though, there is the Hong Kong museums in this area. Unfortunately, I cannot exactly remember where. It's like in this area. Because somewhere over here, you're going to have, maybe it's here. Maybe we can see it from the air. It's kind of like, so it's like you have the underground tunnel that go underneath the bay and come out, and there's like a big toll area. It was kind of near that. It was in this area. I mean, there was a little park and stuff. And then here you go. You have a couple more of the major skyscrapers, the highways. Actually, a lot of a good nightlife area over here too. Over here, there's a lot of nightlife and restaurants. The buildings from the sky here don't look exactly accurate. They looked a little nicer than that. Like, they did a good job with skyscrapers. Obviously, the lower buildings, I wouldn't say needs work, because I'm being fair. I'm trying to be fair how difficult it was to do all this, and it's just, what they did is still incredible. Maybe on Ultra it definitely looked better. But, I'm really happy with what they did. So, So yeah, no, I highly recommend Hong Kong. Beautiful city, nice people. Had an amazing, had a very good time over there. Find the history of the whole colony or sorry, this region very interesting. So, just try to get over there. Like, even if not, do it for the food. I mean, you have like, and all right, they're in the U.S. now. Is Tim Ho Wan. They're a dim sum chain, but they're originally from Hong Kong. They're like the cheapest Michelin star in the world. Incredible. I mean, I literally spend like $12 for like 3 or 4 buns or 3 or 4 dim sum dishes on myself. And that was like, and that came with hot tea. It was incredible. They had amazing barbecue pork and stuff. I had, I ate the wonton noodle soup there at a Michelin star restaurant. Again, another $10, $12 total per person with my friend. It was just incredible. Like the food you get and the quality. Roasted goose, Michelin star. That was less than $10. Fresh barbecue goose. It's very similar to duck. Crispy, and I tried the park there as well. Oh, it's incredible. So, I mean, even just for the food, it's worth to go there just to try it once. I mean, you get to try some of the world's very good restaurants at reasonably priced, very casual, and then you can obviously go and splurge at a very nice restaurant where, set you back a good $150 a person. All right, let's pull them up. That's odd. I can't get Hong Kong Airport here. Let's turn that off. Oh, here we go. No, I want to do.
Landing gear. 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 Landing gear.
All right, this is I guess this is working.
Landing gear.
He keeps telling me landing gear. Let's slow this down a
Landing
bit.
gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Let's see if I can do this right.
Landing gear.
I think the middle one's yeah, that is the runway. So I'm going a little hot here. That will slow it down. So yeah, this Hong Kong airport, it's not this generic white building. Well, all right, it is a white roof, but it looks a lot more impressive than that. I am off a bit, I can tell. I'm still trying to get better at landing. I actually did do the assistance once, and it was useful, but it is very, very slow. Alright, let's... Alright, that was a little dicey, but we did it. I don't hunt the taxi stuff. I know I screwed this up somehow. Oh, well, I'm actually cheating here. We're just gonna head over to the terminal. Alright, turn this back up. Take a look here. Yeah, this does not look like the... Well, alright. The layout's the same. But it doesn't have, obviously... I actually want to know if these are the real planes we're about to take off or not. I just want to get close, take a look. But yeah, this is the main airport. It's huge. A lot of direct flights. I mean, I flew United from here into Hong Kong from Chicago. That right's actually been canceled. They canceled it. Well, actually back in... Oh, late we're in the spring when COVID started taking off. I bet they'll reevaluate over time. They want to re-add it or not. I mean, it was a packed flight, but obviously with everything going on, you know, travel's a lot more limited now, unfortunately. Oh. Yeah, we'll park over here. That works. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So, you know, appreciate you guys want to listen to my ramblings. Hope you learned something new, especially of Hong Kong Airport and a little bit of Macau and stuff. Have a good time. Have a good night.